Ladies and gentlemen, let me pose a question to you. Why is it that we spend so much of our lives pursuing external connections, only to find ourselves in our later years rethinking the value of those very interactions? This isn't just about aging, this is about the deeper complexities of existence that become clearer as time unfolds. The relationships that once seemed vital might suddenly appear trivial, and the people you once thought you needed may no longer seem so necessary. This, I believe, is something everyone over 70 should seriously consider. Today we'll explore 6 eye-opening truths about why, as you grow older, you might find yourself reconsidering the need to visit people at all. When you're younger, time feels infinite. There's always another day, another opportunity, another chance to reconnect. But as you pass 70, something shifts. You begin to see time not as an endless expanse, but as a finite resource. Every day carries a weight it didn't before, and with that realization comes a fundamental question. How do I want to spend the time I have left? This shift in perspective changes how you approach relationships and social obligations. It's no longer about maintaining connections for the sake of it. It's about evaluating whether those interactions truly enrich your life. The idea of spending hours in conversations that don't inspire you, or making visits out of mere politeness, begins to seem like a misuse of the most valuable currency you possess, your time. You become more discerning, prioritizing meaningful conversations over idle chatter, and choosing solitude or the company of a few close loved ones over large, draining gatherings. There's also a heightened sense of urgency. Regret becomes more tangible. You reflect on how much time you might have wasted in the past on people who didn't appreciate you, on social settings that felt forced, on obligations that drained rather than fulfilled. With that awareness, you become fiercely protective of the moments you have left. Every hour matters, and you start making decisions accordingly. This isn't about withdrawing from the world. It's about choosing where to invest your remaining days wisely. It's the realization that time once spent cannot be regained. And so, as you age, you begin to live with greater intentionality, ensuring that the moments you have left are spent in ways that truly matter to you. Aging brings with it an undeniable shift in energy levels. What once felt effortless, long conversations, social outings, or even casual visits, can start to feel exhausting. The body speaks more loudly than it did in youth, signaling the need for rest, for conservation of energy, for selective engagement. When you're younger, you can push through fatigue without much thought, running from one event to the next. But as the years pass, that ability fades, and every social interaction comes with a cost. This doesn't mean a complete withdrawal from people. Rather, it's about making choices that align with your physical and emotional well-being. It's about recognizing that you no longer have the reserves to entertain out of obligation. The mere thought of going out for an event or sitting through a conversation that doesn't engage you can feel like a drain before it even begins. Your body knows its limits, and you begin to listen. Mental energy also plays a role. Engaging in social situations requires focus, patience, and sometimes even endurance. As you age, you may find that small talk, gossip, or shallow interactions hold little appeal. They demand energy without offering anything meaningful in return. The ability to filter out what is worth your time and effort becomes sharper, and with that comes the realization that not every invitation needs to be accepted, not every visit needs to be made. This shift is not about weakness, it's about wisdom. Recognizing your limits is a sign of self-awareness, not decline. Instead of scattering your energy across countless interactions, you direct it toward the people and experiences that truly matter. And in doing so, you begin to find a balance between engagement and rest, between connection and solitude, between what drains you and what sustains you. In the earlier stages of life, silence often feels unsettling. There's a natural inclination to fill every moment with conversation, noise, and activity. Society encourages constant engagement, reinforcing the idea that being social equates to being happy. But as you grow older, your perspective on silence changes. What once felt like emptiness now feels like peace. Instead of seeking validation through interaction, you begin to appreciate the clarity that solitude provides. With age comes a deeper understanding of yourself. The constant external stimulation that was once necessary, meeting friends, attending events, engaging in endless discussions, starts to feel less essential. The mind shifts inward, and in that inward focus you find a kind of wisdom that younger years seldom allow. There is an unmatched value in simply sitting with your thoughts, processing experiences without the need for external input. This doesn't mean you stop valuing relationships. On the contrary, you begin to value them more deeply, but selectively. You no longer seek company for the sake of avoiding loneliness. Instead, you engage when it truly brings something meaningful into your life. You may find yourself craving fewer interactions, but richer ones. Conversations with depth, moments of true connection rather than mere social pleasantries. There is also an acceptance that comes with solitude. You realize that your presence in every social setting is not necessary. You don't need to be at every gathering, respond to every call, or initiate every visit. You understand that solitude isn't loneliness, it's a form of strength, a way to recharge, a means of reflecting on the life you've lived and the time you have left. And in that realization, you discover something profound. Silence, when embraced, is not an absence of life, but a deeper appreciation of it. As the years pass, the way you view relationships shifts dramatically. In youth, there is a tendency to collect people, to surround yourself with as many friends, acquaintances, and connections as possible. It feels important to be socially active, to maintain a wide network, and to engage with many different people. But as you age, you begin to see the flaw in this approach. You start to realize that it's not about how many people are in your life, it's about the depth and meaning of the relationships you choose to maintain. Superficial conversations lose their appeal. Small talk, gossip, and surface-level interactions that once felt like social necessities now seem like distractions. There is little interest in talking just for the sake of talking. Instead, what becomes valuable are the exchanges that hold weight. Conversations that challenge your thinking, bring genuine joy, or provide comfort in times of need. You no longer seek to fill your days with casual encounters. You seek the company of those who truly understand you, who have shared meaningful experiences with you, and who offer something real. This shift also brings a sense of liberation. You no longer feel the need to maintain relationships that don't serve you. In younger years, there is pressure to be agreeable, to keep up with people out of obligation or habit. But as you grow older, you become more selective, and with that selectiveness comes freedom. You let go of the idea that every relationship must be preserved. Instead, you nurture the ones that bring you fulfillment and allow the rest to fade naturally. What remains is a small but strong circle of people who matter. Those with whom you can be yourself, those who reciprocate effort, and those who make life richer rather than simply busier. As you age, you begin to see relationships in a different light. The people you once connected with may not resonate with you anymore, and the friendships that once seemed unbreakable may no longer feel relevant. This realization can be difficult at first, but it is a natural part of personal growth. Over the years, you have evolved. Your experiences, values, and perspectives have deepened, and not everyone around you has followed the same path. Conversations that once engaged you may now feel tedious. The constant rehashing of old stories, the fixation on trivial matters, the negativity that some people carry, it all starts to weigh on you in ways it never did before. You may find that certain individuals drain your energy rather than enrich your life. Where you once tolerated or even enjoyed these interactions, now they feel like an obligation rather than a choice. This isn't about superiority, it's about alignment. You have reached a point where you value authenticity over familiarity. Just because someone has been in your life for decades doesn't mean they should remain there if the relationship no longer serves a purpose. You begin to prioritize those who bring wisdom, warmth, and depth into your life over those who simply occupy space. Letting go of old connections is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of self-preservation. You no longer have the patience or desire to entertain relationships that feel stagnant or forced. Instead, you choose to invest in people who inspire you, who challenge you, and who reflect the person you have become. With age comes clarity, and with clarity comes the ability to walk away from anything or anyone that no longer contributes to your well-being. As time becomes more precious, your focus shifts from simply being present in people's lives to leaving behind something meaningful. The need to attend every gathering, visit every acquaintance, or maintain every connection fades, replaced by a deeper concern for what you will be remembered for. It is no longer about how often you see people, but about the wisdom, values, and impact you leave behind. You start to reflect on what truly matters. The conversations that once revolved around trivial matters no longer hold the same weight. Instead, you find yourself thinking about the lessons you've learned, the principles you've upheld, and the guidance you can offer to those who come after you. You realize that your legacy is not built on how many visits you made or how often you showed up, but on the depth of what you imparted to others. This perspective brings a sense of peace. You no longer feel the pressure to be everywhere, to maintain every relationship, or to meet every expectation placed upon you. Instead, you focus on what is lasting. You invest in meaningful conversations, pass down wisdom, and nurture relationships that truly matter. You recognize that your presence is not the greatest gift you can offer. Your insights, love, and the values you embody hold far more significance. At this stage of life, you come to understand that the best way to remain in people's lives is not by physically showing up, but by leaving behind something that endures. The mark you leave on the world is not measured by the number of visits you make, but by the lessons, kindness, and strength you pass on to those who will carry your legacy forward.